My brothers texted, "We voted you out of the family business. Pack your desk." I replied, "Okay." When they tried to log into the company servers the next day, they realized the family business was built entirely on the code I had just revoked. I, 28 male, just got the most hilarious text from my brothers. After 5 years of building what they call the family business, they've decided to vote me out. Let me paint you a picture. My brothers, Garrett, 35, and Toby, 32, started a logistics consulting firm back in 2019. I put that in quotes because what they actually had was a fancy name, business cards, and exactly 0 clients. They were hemorrhaging Dad's money faster than a casino ATM. 6 months into their venture, they came crawling to me. I was fresh out of college with a computer science degree, working remotely for a decent tech company. They needed someone to handle the website. What they actually needed was someone to build an entire automated system from scratch because they were drowning in manual processes they didn't understand. I agreed to help. Family, right? Built them a client portal, automated their inventory tracking, created algorithms for route optimization, integrated payment processing, customer management, the works. Took me 8 months of nights and weekends. They paid me in pizza and promises of equity when we make it big. Here's the thing. I never transferred ownership of the code. It's all licensed to the company through my personal LLC, which I created specifically for this purpose. The agreement was, I maintain ownership of the intellectual property and license it to them. They signed the papers without reading them, because we're family, why would we need to read contracts? Fast forward 5 years, the business is thriving. We're pulling in about $2.8 million annually. My systems handle everything. Garrett and Toby basically just schmooze clients and collect checks. They hired 2 employees to handle customer service. I still maintain and update everything, taking a 20% cut as the tech partner. Last week, Garrett's wife Mallory started working as operations director, a made-up position where she reorganizes the already organized filing system and makes everyone use new fonts in emails. Toby's girlfriend Kelsey became social media manager, despite the fact we're a B2B company that doesn't need Instagram presence. Yesterday at 4 p.m., I get this text in our group chat. "Hey, we held a partners meeting and voted. You're out. The business needs to evolve beyond just tech stuff. Pack your desk by Friday. We'll mail you your last check. Thanks for everything." I replied, "Okay." Then I did what any reasonable person would do. I logged into my AWS account and revoked the license key for their software, effective immediately. All of it. The client portal, the routing system, the inventory management, the payment processing, everything. It all shows a simple message now. License expired. Please contact your software administrator. Garrett called me at 4:17 p.m., 12 missed calls by 4:30. I didn't answer. Update 1 bras are losing their minds, and it's honestly better than Netflix. So after I revoked the licenses, chaos erupted exactly as you'd expect. Their biggest client had a shipment worth $400 scheduled for the next morning. Without the routing system, they had no idea which drivers were supposed to go where. The inventory system was down, so they couldn't even figure out what was supposed to be shipped. Garrett showed up at my apartment at 6 a.m. yesterday, pounding on the door like the police. I recorded it through my Ring doorbell, but didn't answer. He screamed for 20 minutes about how I'm sabotaging the family and being petty. My neighbor eventually threatened to call the cops, so he left. Then came the lawyer threats. Toby sent me this gem of an email. "Our attorney says what you did is illegal sabotage and corporate theft. You have 24 hours to restore access, or we're suing for damages and pressing criminal charges. This is your only warning." I forwarded it to my lawyer friend, who literally laughed. I have a signed licensing agreement. They terminated my position in the company. The license was contingent on my involvement. It's all in writing, in the contract they signed. But here's where it gets good. Mallory, Garrett's wife, tried to be sneaky. She reached out to my ex-girlfriend on Facebook, trying to dig up dirt on me. Apparently, she told my ex that I was having a mental breakdown and had stolen company property and asked if my ex had noticed any unstable behavior when we dated. My ex, bless her, screenshot everything and sent it to me with, "LeMayo, your family is insane. Glad you're finally standing up to them." They also tried to hire an emergency IT company to rebuild the system. The company came in, looked at what needed to be built, and quoted them $450 and 6 months minimum. That's when reality started hitting. See, they never understood what I built. It's not some off-the-shelf software. It's 5 years of custom code, integrations with 16 different APIs, machine learning algorithms trained on their specific data, and a database structure that took me months to optimize. You can't just download a replacement. Last night, Toby texted me privately. "Bro, this is getting out of hand. Just turn it back on and we'll work something out." I replied, "I don't work there anymore, remember? You voted." He tried calling immediately. I didn't answer. This morning, I woke up to an email from their biggest client, CCing me on a message to my brothers. They're threatening to sue for breach of contract if their shipments aren't handled by Monday. That's $2.3 million in contracts about to evaporate. The best part? Garrett and Toby's dad called me. He's the one who initially funded their business. He's furious, not at me, at them. Turns out they told him I was stepping back to focus on other opportunities. He had no idea they forced me out. "You built that entire company," he said. "Those idiots can't even merge a PDF without help." He's right. They literally once called me at 11 p.m. because they couldn't figure out how to combine 2 documents. Update 2. The entitlement has reached levels I didn't think were possible. So after hemorrhaging 3 major clients and facing a lawsuit from their biggest one, my brothers did what any reasonable people would do. They tried to break into my apartment to access my computer. I kid you not. My Ring doorbell caught Garrett trying to jimmy the lock at 2 a.m. Thursday night while Toby stood lookout. I called the cops while watching them live. The look on their faces when the police rolled up was priceless. They tried to explain they were my brothers, and it was a family matter. The cops didn't care. I pressed charges for attempted breaking and entering. They were released the next morning, and that's when Mallory decided to escalate. She called my current employer, told them I was involved in corporate espionage and had stolen proprietary software. She claimed I was using company time to sabotage their business. My boss called me into his office, concerned. I showed him the licensing agreement, the text where they fired me, and the Ring footage of them trying to break into my apartment. He literally said, "Your family sounds exhausting. Take the rest of the week off, paid, to deal with this mess." But the real kicker came Friday afternoon. They served me with an emergency injunction to force me to restore the software. Their lawyer argued I was holding the company hostage and causing irreparable harm. Court was yesterday. I brought my lawyer, all the documentation, and a detailed breakdown of the licensing agreement. Their lawyer argued that since it was a family business, normal contracts shouldn't apply. The judge actually asked him, "Are you seriously arguing that family members don't need to honor legal agreements?" When my lawyer presented the evidence, the signed agreement, proof they read and understood it, emails discussing the terms, and the text formally terminating my involvement, the judge looked annoyed. Not at me. At them. But here's the beautiful part. My lawyer then countersued. Breach of contract. They owe me 3 months of payments they've been delayed on, $73. Defamation. Mallory's calls to my employer, and attempted breaking and entering, the criminal charges. The judge denied their injunction and fast-tracked our countersuit. He literally told them, "You terminated your relationship with the software owner. He has no obligation to continue providing services. This is a consequence of your own actions." Garrett exploded, started yelling about how I'm destroying the family business and being vindictive. The judge threatened him with contempt. After court, Toby's girlfriend Kelsey approached me in the parking lot. Tried to play the sympathy card. "You know, I just had my wisdom teeth out and can't work my other job. I need this income. Can't you just help them for my sake?" I said, "Maybe you should have thought about that before your boyfriend voted me out." She called me heartless. I reminded her that she makes $60K a year to post 3 Instagram photos a week for a company that doesn't need social media. This morning, I got a call from a competitor. Word's gotten out that my brother's company is imploding. They want to hire me to build them a similar system. Offered me $200 salary plus equity. I'm thinking about it. Meanwhile, My brothers are manually trying to fulfill orders with Excel spreadsheets and WhatsApp groups. They've lost 6 more clients. Their employees quit because they haven't been able to process payroll without the system. Dad called again. He's pulling his funding. I gave them $500 to start that company. You made it worth something. They destroyed it in a week. Final update. It's over. The family business is dead. And the fallout is exactly what they deserved. After losing all their major clients and failing to secure emergency funding, Garrett and Toby had to shut down operations. But not before trying one last desperate move. They attempted to sell the company, including MI Software as an asset. A potential buyer reached out to me for technical due diligence. I sent them the licensing agreement, clearly showing they don't own the software. The buyer immediately withdrew their offer and actually thanked me for saving them from a potential lawsuit. When my brothers found out, Garrett sent me a text that just said, "You're no longer my brother." I replied, "According to your vote, I haven't been for a month." The civil suit concluded last week. The judge ruled in my favor on all counts. They owe me $73,000 in unpaid licensing fees, $25,000 in defamation damages. Mallory's calls to my employer were recorded and submitted as evidence. $15,000 in legal fees. Criminal charges for attempted B&E are still pending, but their lawyer says they'll likely get probation and fines. But here's the part that made everything worth it. During the final hearing, their lawyer tried one last Hail Mary. He argued that I had built the software in bad faith, knowing they'd depend on it. The judge asked him, "Are you arguing that providing good service for 5 years constitutes bad faith?" Even their own lawyer looked embarrassed. Mallory and Kelsey both tried reaching out to my mom, crying about how they're struggling financially now. Mom, who'd been neutral until she saw the full story, told them, "Maybe next time, don't vote out the person keeping your business running." The competitor I mentioned? I took the job. Started 2 weeks ago. The salary is actually $220,000 after negotiation plus 5% equity. My first project? Building a system to absorb all my brother's former clients. We've already signed 4 of them. Garrett and Toby are both job hunting now. Toby applied to my new company, not knowing I work there. My boss asked for my input on his resume. I told him the truth. Toby's a decent salesman, but needs constant technical support and has a history of making decisions without understanding their consequences. He didn't get an interview. The family dynamics are destroyed, obviously. But here's the thing. They were always broken. I was just the only one pretending they weren't. My brothers treated me like hired help. They didn't have to pay fair wages to. They genuinely thought I was replaceable, that what I did was just computer stuff anyone could figure out. Dad's been the surprising silver lining. He apologized for enabling them for so long. Said watching them destroy in 3 weeks what took me 5 years to build was a wake-up call. He's asked me to help him understand what I actually do. We've had dinner twice, just us, talking about technology and business. It's the most real conversation we've had in years. My brothers still maintain this was all my fault. Last I heard through the family grapevine, they're telling people I hacked their company and stole their code. They refuse to acknowledge they voted me out. Garrett even told our cousin I quit without notice to sabotage them. The cousin asked me about it. I sent him the screenshot of the group chat where they voted me out. He hasn't spoken to Garrett since. For those asking if I feel guilty, no. They had 5 years to learn what I was building, to value my contribution, to treat me as an equal partner. Instead, they treated me like the computer guy they could discard once the hard work was done. They made their choice. They faced the consequences. The licensing agreement expires officially in 2 months. They've already stopped paying for it since the company is dissolved, so it'll just quietly lapse. All that custom code, all those algorithms, all that work, it'll just be mine again, free and clear. I'm thinking about open sourcing parts of it. Let other small businesses benefit from what I built. Turn something my brothers saw as just tech stuff into something that helps other entrepreneurs who actually value technical innovation. Moral of the story? Always, always keep ownership of your intellectual property. And never, ever underestimate the tech guy. We might just be the ones keeping your entire operation afloat. Edit. Yes, I have a new job now. No, I haven't heard from my brothers since the lawsuit concluded. And yes, I sleep perfectly fine at night.